Welcome to my vlog on cybersecurity and big data. My name is Lipyeow-Lim. I'm a computer scientist, an educator, and a software engineer. And today, I'm going to talk to you about how to automate IOC matching based on what we did in the last episode where we built out a SQL query that does IOC matching. So let's review quickly what we did in the last episode, right? So we built out this query step by step to actually do IOC matching on the HTTP table. I'm not going to go through this. You can rewatch my last episode. Now, how do we automate this IOC matching query? Now, what we really want is we want this to be executing either continuously or periodically, like every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or even 30 minutes, and continuously match data against our IOC table, the list of IOCs in the IOC table. And we want to do this in an efficient way, but let's start with the basics, right? So I'm going to create a notebook, and we're going to use Delta Live Tables, or DLT, and you're going to see how this is done. Essentially, we're just going to take the query from the last time and slap on a prefix called create live table. And let me show that to you. We'll create a separate notebook. This is a SQL notebook. And I'm just slapping on the create live table here onto the query that we built the last time. I've added some additional fields for better tracking, but that's about it. And then what we do is we go to the job section. This is what Databricks look like when you first log on, and you go to the workflow section, and then you have jobs. But we're interested in Delta Live Tables, and Delta Live Table is really cool for automating stuff, automating your notebooks. And in this case, I've really I've created a version here. Let me create a new one, right? So let's create a new one, and I'm just going to put it as tutorial auto IOC matching. And you can pretty much use fairly standard stuff. The cluster policy, I'm just going to use DLT policy. You may have other policy in your environment. I'm just going to do triggered. You can do continuous, but just know that continuous will be a bit more expensive because you'll be running it continuously. And then you just have to specify the notebook source. In this case, I just have to go look. Mine is in my repo and on the IOC matching. And this was the DLT notebook that I showed you earlier. And you don't want to make sure that you put the results in the right target schema. And this is the one that I've been using, so I'm just going to do this. You can leave this the same. If you want to use photon acceleration, you can, and just do create. Right? And create doesn't do much yet. You need to start the job, start the DLT job before you actually do anything. So I'm actually going to start it. Okay, the job has finished executing. It waited for 4 minutes in order to get resources, and then finally it took about 13 seconds to process through the entire table, and it ended up with 4 hits, right? 4 rows were inserted into the IOC hits table. And so we can actually take a look at that. Let's check that, and I've got the query here. I can execute it real quick, and it will bring back, hey, 4 rows, and these are what the hits look like. Now, this way of doing DLT actually is not the most efficient, because every time it's going to process the entire table, it's going to do IOC matching on the entire table, which is wasteful. Because what we really want is we only want to do IOC matching on the new data, that was ingested since the last time that we actually ran the IOC matching query on the table. Well, it turns out that you can do that very easily by actually just changing a few keywords and adding one more, right? Instead of create live table, you do create streaming live table. I'm going to call this one Inc. IOC hits. So note the streaming keyword, and then in the actual the reference to the source table, you're going to enclose it with stream. So you're going to treat the source table as a stream. What this does is that it will actually checkpoint where it actually does the IOC matching up to a certain point. It will checkpoint that, and then the next time you execute, you will start from that checkpoint instead of starting right from the beginning of the table. So this is the power of the streaming model, the stream keyword. And I'm going to show this to you, and this is what now it looks like. So note the streaming keyword here, and then note that in the source table here, I enclose it with stream. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create a job on this. So let's go back and actually create a job on this. And I'm going to call it incremental IOC matching. Specify. Okay, the DLT job completed. After getting resources, waiting on resources, let's take a look at the results. So let's check the Inc. IOC hits table. Okay, 4 rows. This is expected. Now let's actually do this. Let's actually verify this, right? Let's actually insert one new row into the HTTP table. So I'm going to do that. It should be very, very fast. So one new row was inserted, and then now I'm going to re-trigger the DLT job, and I design it such that this row that was inserted, it does contain a malicious IOC, so it will actually increase the number of hits by 1, right? So let's trigger the DLT job again, and we will see that whether it works correctly or not. Oh, we got lucky. We got the compute resources right away, and it finished. So let's now go check again the results. Oh, here actually. So let's trigger this query now. Same query actually. Hey, we got 5 rows, and if you check the first seen time or last seen time, the row that I inserted is special. It has a timestamp of 2022, April 18 instead of 2012's March 16. So this is indeed the row that was inserted. So, and it only processed just that the new data that was inserted. It won't actually go reprocess all the data that have been matched earlier. So this is the cool part about streaming DLTs. So not going to go into details, but how do we handle multiple data sources or tables? I showed you how to do it for the HTTP table. You could do 2 options. One is you could just do a union all with the streaming live table Inc. IOC hits DLT. So basically in here, you would add in not just this, but you would sort of union all additional queries on the DNS table, on the Kerberos table, on any other tables that you want to do IOC hits on. That's one option. Second option is you can use separate create stream live table statements for each source table, and you just create a separate output table for each of them. So you do like Inc. IOC hits underscore HTTP, and you would do that for each different table. You have a Inc. IOC hits underscore DNS, Inc. IOC hits underscore SSH, and so on. And then you can create a view to union all these resulting Inc. underscore IOC hits underscore star tables together and actually query them. And then from there, you can consume all these hits from this table, either send them to Slack, a messaging system, or just send them to a dashboard or a BI tool, or you can send them to a SIM even. All right, so you saw how easy it was to automate IOC matching on data ingest. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Next episode, we'll look at how to deal with IOC updates. See you next time.